You open up any newspaper in America today and they'll tell you, they tell me all the time, oh, the community in Miami is changing. Even American community is changing. They're not in favor of the embargo anymore. They're more open to travel and so forth and so on. I don't know if that's true. I think there are people that have relatives in Cuba that want to go visit them. I also know there are people that are abusing that. I also know that there are people that come here and 6 months after they arrive, a year and a half after they arrive, they're going back to Cuba 18 times a day, over a year. And I'm telling you that's a problem. Because people all over the country are turning to us and saying, well, why do you have the Cuban Adjustment Act? The Cuban Adjustment Act exists for people that are refugees and exiles. And that, of course there are refugees and exiles from Cuba. But if you're going back 18 times a year, so we have to deal with that issue. That's a problem. But beyond that issue, let me tell you that what we have here is an all-out movement. By the way, listen. If someone has a mother who's in Cuba and they're dying and they want to go see her before she passes away, there's nobody in this room that's going to criticize them. Not one person. That's not the issue. The issue is the massive amount of influx of dollars that are going into the hands, not of the Cuban people, but the Cuban government. Here's what else you need to understand. This is designed to work this way. They are deliberately allowing certain people to leave because they know they'll come back with that money. Because they know they'll send money back. This is a policy aim of the Castro regime. This is not by accident. This is a design. Traveling to Cuba, Lord God bless them, I know they mean well. But I have people come to me all the time and say, oh, I went to Cuba, what a beautiful place. I feel so bad for the people. Cuba's not a zoo where you pay an admission ticket and you go in, you get to watch people living in cages to see how they're suffering. Cuba's not a field trip. I don't take that stuff lightly. You just went to Cuba, and to fulfill your curiosity, which I could have told you about, you come see me for 5 minutes. You left thousands of dollars in the hand of a government that uses that money to control these people that you feel sorry for. The thing I really get a kick out of is every year, without fail, 3 or 4 of my colleagues in the Senate will travel to Cuba, they'll have their yearly meeting with Rubio, Castro, or whoever's there. Then they come back with the same story. Oh, we really have to figure out a way to change policy towards Cuba. What we have today is a relic of the Cold War. That's what they say. It is a relic of the Cold War, but our policy is not the relic. The relic is the Cuban government. That's the relic. The relic is tyranny. The relic is communism. All these stories out there about the communities changing, look, I don't know. I can just tell you that on matters of principle, on matters of justice, on matters of human rights, I don't care what the polls say. I don't care how many people think we should change our policy. There's no poll in the world that's going to get me to convince me to accept the tyranny anywhere in the world. There's no election in the world that's going to convince me that somehow we should look the other way while people are oppressed and jailed for speaking their mind. There's no political equation in the country that's going to convince me that somehow we should embrace this government in Cuba and what they're doing to their own people. And neither should you. And neither should you. Because I don't know if we're on the right side of politics today. I believe we are. I don't know if we are. But I know we're on the right side of history. I know that we are on the right side of history. Because you see, democracy is special for one more reason. And I said this earlier, because it's so rare. Look at the recorded history of mankind. Almost anyone that's ever lived has been 2 things: poor and oppressed. In the history of the world, the billions of people that have ever lived on this planet, almost all of them, with a very small exception, have been poor and have been oppressed. And those 2 are related. That means they didn't get to pick their leaders. Their leader was a king who claimed God to be their king. Their leader was a dictator, an emperor, because they had more weapons than the other guy who wanted to be the dictator than the emperor. Democracy is rare and it's special. It's how America helped change the world. It's why we had a Cold War. It's why the Cold War ended in our favor. Because while it is rare, it is the natural condition of man. And that's what we're fighting for. Let me tell you why this matters. And I pray to God that all of you will be with us the day this happens. But it will happen. It always does. Eventually, This year, next year, 5 years from now, 50 years from now, God forbid. Tyranny will fall and be replaced by some open democratic process in Cuba. That is the inevitable direction of all mankind. And when it does, the same thing that's happening in all these other countries in Latin America is going to happen in Cuba. The files will be opened. The trials will go on. The truth will come out. And all those people wearing Che Guevara t-shirts or posters in their campus rooms, all of these people that travel to Cuba and say we should look the other way, all these people that for years have asked this country to accept tyranny in Cuba will have to explain themselves. When these stories come out about the people that were executed in Cuba, they will have to explain to their children and grandchildren why they were okay with that. When all these stories come out about the thousands upon thousands of people that served as many years in jail as I've been alive, they will have to explain to their children why they were okay with that. But we won't, because we're on the right side of history. And ultimately, I would rather be on the right side of history than on the right side of politics every single time. So thank you.